Good evening and welcome to Dark Hour Paranormal. I am your host, Michael Roser, for the evening. Tonight, folks, our show is something long awaited, I should say. And I mean that in the respect because we've been following this gentleman's story for quite some time. A couple months. But it seems like it's been longer because of how much has been going on. Folks, my guest tonight is John, a.k.a. Rican Havoc. I think a lot of you know who he is, and those who don't, you're going to get a great idea of what he's been going through, what he's dealt with in life, and why he's on the show tonight. Folks, this is a really, really cool story. And one of the reasons that I'm so excited to have John on the show tonight is because this is the little man's story, okay? And I mean that in the sense that this is the common man's story. This is not the story that you hear over, TTSA, MUFON, any of these other big groups, organizations. You're not hearing these stories. And, there are a multitude of reasons for that. But John's story is incredibly unique. And yet at the same time, I know there are others out there who are experiencing or have experienced the same things that he's gone through. Before I get going here and bring John on, I want to read you a bio that he's written himself. I actually didn't augment anything from this because I liked the narrative. I liked the way that it was written. It's in his own words, and it's just as genuine as his energy is. So with that being said, welcome everyone. My name is John. Most of you might know me as Rican Havoc 215. For the most part of my childhood was pretty normal until I reached the age of 15, and that's when my life would be changed forever. That year in 1995, I had an abduction experience. I witnessed 2 ETs outside my window and 2 outside my bedroom door. This event changed me in a drastically negative way. I still have a scar on my back from that night. A week later, I saw a UFO. When I was 20, I saw a ghost for the first time, and I found out it was my friend's deceased aunt who took her life. Well, that same friend took his life following year, and soon after, I was having paranormal experiences daily for a couple of years. At 25, I had a traumatic, unexplainable experience, which I believe was ET related. When I was 31 to 32, I witnessed a shadow person in the middle of the day, heard voices coming from above me, and woke up paralyzed. I've had plenty of other experiences as well. About 2 months ago, I did my first interview ever with Ollie from Alien Addict. I also did an interview with Rich from GUFON and Michael from DarkHour Paranormal together. Since my first interview, my life has been a roller coaster ride with daily experiences occurring and so many more questions than answers. I have lived the past 25 years in fear of another abduction. It affects my jobs, family, relationships, finances, and so forth. The fear consumed me to the point that the thought of taking my own life crossed my mind. But recently, the fear has been replaced with an eagerness to find answers and to get to the bottom of what's going on with me. My journey is remarkable and well documented. My main drive now is to find the answers I'm looking for and to share what I find with the world. People who are honest and genuine ufology are few and far between. I believe I'm on a path to change that. With that being said, I'd like to bring John on the show. Folks, please give a great warm welcome to a good friend of mine, Rican Havoc. How you doing tonight, my friend?
Hey, what's up, Michael? How's it going?
I'm doing all right. How was your day today?
A regular
What'd you do?
day.
Anything exciting? You go to work? What'd you do?
I had a day off. I was kind of messing around all day, But
Nothing wrong with that.
Relaxing day, It was nice. How about yourself?
Can't complain. Took my kids apple picking, and there's a whole slew of other things to do there. Obviously, when you have kids, there's always something to do, and that's what we did. We ended up enjoying the day. It was nice. It was nice being out there in the woods again. I'm in the city of Worcester, out here in Massachusetts. We don't have a lot of that this way, so it was nice to get out, my friend. Nice. Thanks for asking, but let's move forward here. Let's get into you because I've been really excited about this interview. I've been looking forward to talking to you in this format. The show that we did with Rich on GUFON was really awesome, and I was incredibly honored that Rich had asked me to come on the show and sit Shiva with him to interview you. And again, it was a wonderful time, and I really learned a lot from listening to your experiences, and it gave me a lot of insight into some of the phenomenon that you're describing that you've gone through on a personalized level. So let's start at the beginning. We're not going to rehash everything that we've gone through because you've done a few interviews as of the time, and I want to just recap your story, but bring in some of the more pertinent details. So I'll ask you this: where did everything start for you? Where did your interest in UFOs, the paranormal, or maybe you didn't have an interest and you're sort of forced into that? Where did it all start for you?
I would say maybe 13 or 14 years old. I would just watch whatever was on TV at the time, mostly documentaries. I don't think the internet was too popular at that point. So you had to get all your information from what you saw on TV or VHSs you purchased. But I always followed it. I always liked the subject. I always believed in it from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It just made sense to me. But yeah, I enjoyed following it. But it's the same, like rehash the same stories over and over. And
So before you had an experience of your own, you were already kind of interested in the field, watching unsolved mysteries and documentaries and so forth?
Yeah, X-Files.
Okay.
I bought the Autopsy VHS tape.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Then, so yeah, I thought the subject was cool, and I still do.
Excellent. So let's talk about your first encounter, your first experience that really opened your eyes and made you think, oh shit, maybe there's not just something out there, maybe I'm involved in it too.
Yeah, that would be when I was 15, when I had the abduction experience.
Can you go through that with us a little bit? I mean, I know we've talked about it, but I'd like to kind of keep it fresh. So if you wouldn't mind going through that, that would be awesome.
Yeah, no problem at all. It was a day during the weekend. I think it was like a Friday night or possibly Saturday night. That morning, my parents went on a cruise with my brother, which I was offered to go with them. But I decided I'd rather have the house to myself. And that night is when I saw the two ETs looking in my window and, believe I was abducted that night. I'm pretty sure I was, yeah. And that was my first experience. And, ever since that day, it's, nothing's been the same.
Is this the night that you described in your biography that you still have a scar on your back from?
Yes.
Now, why did you have a scar? What happened to you?
I have no idea. I woke up the following morning with a huge scab on my back. I didn't even notice the scab till I was in the shower. Once soap hit it, I jumped up in the air and I was just shocked, how that it's a spot where you wouldn't get cut, you know what I'm saying? The lowest part of your back, and nothing happened the day before and the scab was fresh. I still have a scar now, but as far as what happened, I kind of think maybe a small piece of my tailbone was removed, but that's just, I have no proof of that yet, but it's an assumption. I heard someone else mention that in their own story. They had the same experience with the scab in the shower and the burning and the scar.
Really?
And she said a piece of hers was removed. So I'm just basing off, what happened to her, which was exactly what happened to me.
Out of curiosity, have you gotten in contact with this person that had a similar story? Were you able to do that at all?
No, that was probably 8-9 years ago. I just hopped on a blog on the internet. It's one of those nights where I couldn't sleep. I'm just searching on the internet and happened to find her post on a blog and just replied and closed it, and that was it. I just want to let her know that the same thing happened to me.
That's amazing.
And that was 17 years after the fact. I realized all this. So that whole time in between, I never put the two together.
Now, why this is significant? Why this is significant, guys, is because this is not the first or not the last injury that John has woken up with. Can you tell us a little bit about what other ailments you've, literally woken up with in the morning and said, well, this doesn't seem right. And, maybe talk a little bit about what the doctors were saying to you whenever you, brought something like that to attention?
Yeah. So after my experience, this is something that happened pretty often. I would say at least maybe once a month where I would wake up and my foot's swollen, my ankle sprained. I flat out can't get out of bed. The day before, I didn't tweak it. I was fine. Went to bed feeling great. I had to call out of work a lot of times because of this. If I can't walk, I can't work. And my boss is like, "How do you hurt yourself in your sleep?" I'm like, I don't know. But at this point in my life, I never try to put anything together with the abduction. Everything was separate. That was like its own thing. Now I'm older. I look back, how much stuff was connected. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, I had like my back pains. My wrists might be swollen and sprained, or I might have a cut or bruises. But I never thought anything about it. And recently, I would say maybe like 3-4 weeks ago, I woke up and had those like burns on my elbow and knee. They were so painful. Like I had shorts on at work, and I had to bend over to do my work. And anytime the fabric touched my knee, I would just freeze. The pain was like intense. It just really burned. So the following morning, it like scabbed up and formed little circles. I think most
scoop marks.
Scoop marks in pairs. But the injury didn't look like that the day before. It looked like maybe a layer of skin was burned off or scraped off. And then the next day, I saw that and I was like, wow. And that was the first time I ever put 2 and 2 together. All the times before that, I just never really thought about it. And that was the first time I documented it and took pictures. So now I know from here on out, I see something strange, I'm taking a video or a picture. I'm trying to document everything now.
That's part of the research end that you've gotten into.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
It's interesting for me too, because again, we've gone over a lot of this material, and I do encourage everybody to go and check out Alien Addict's interview with John, as well as Richie from GUFON and my interview with John on Richie's channel. You're going to find a lot of information in there too that we won't really get into detail with tonight, but it's there, including the pictures of John's scoop marks and the cuts and the bruises and so forth on his body. He was nice enough to provide some of those for us during those interviews. You'll see very shortly where this interview is going and the focus of where it is, but I want to give you guys the backstory. So we're sitting here talking again, if I didn't know anything about your story, I say, okay, well, maybe you're getting injured here or there, or the other thing. But where's the connection to the alien abduction for you? So you saw 2 in your window and you saw 2 at your bedroom door. Was it at that point that you saw them that you realized that you might be having an abduction experience, or was it later on that you thought back and said, well, maybe I was taken and something had happened? Where was that step for you that you said, this is an alien abduction and this is what I'm thinking?
It actually happened before that. So like when I got home that night, I took a shower and I got into bed to watch TV. I'm wide awake. I just got out of the shower, completely sober. So I go to lay in bed, I put my back against the headboard, and before I could turn the TV on, the bed just starts shaking and vibrating. At some point, it was just jumping off the floor. So
what age were you when this happened?
15.
This is 15.
This is
okay.
Like the main thing.
Okay.
So at that second, I thought it was paranormal. I thought it was like a ghost, right? So I wasn't like too scared, but I had this rush of energy like hit me and told me to look to the right. And I turned my head so quick. And the second I seen like half of the ones I already knew, like right there, it was like that. In 1 second, I got all the information. Like I knew what was going down.
Do you feel like you received that information telepathically, or sort of in an information dump of sort that all of a sudden you just had this understanding, or was it something that came in a more gradual sense, in that respect?
The more and more I talk to people and think about this, some of my opinions been kind of shifting a little bit. Like my first interview, I thought that was the only time it happened. I'm under the belief it happened more than that now. With that being said, I think it happened before that, and it happened in a similar way where I knew like maybe they entered in my room that way before. Like that's the kind of feeling I had. Like I just knew everything. When I looked to the left to look at the door, I knew to look directly at the bottom of the door. Like I knew to look for the shadow. I didn't think about it. It was just a reaction. looking back on it, I can, replay everything in my brain. It's like a crime scene in my head. Like I know every inch of that room and what happened. So I can go back with new information I learned and, try to see what I can figure out. But yeah, as soon as I saw the part of the one's eye, I knew everything in a second what was about to happen.
What did it look like to you?
It looked like a gray, but not quite. I don't think it's the actual gray. It was it was like a grayish, but it had like a little brown tint to it. I don't want to say swirled together, but it was like kind of patchy in a way. Like some spots were browner, some spots were grayer a little bit. It looked kind of like, I don't want to say wet, but it had like a gloss, like a shine to it, kind of like a dampness maybe. And it had just like a big head, like a gray size head, big black eyes, small slit for a mouth, and like two little holes where a nose would be. And it had like no ears, no bones, no facial features, no muscle definition. It looked like, the best way I can say it was like the perfect shape of something. Like it was just perfectly shaped. Just the roundness and like the symmetry of it, and no bones poking out. Everything was smooth. It was pretty amazing.
Was that the only time you saw something that clearly?
Yes.
Yes.
That was probably 8 feet away from me, right against the outside of my window. They were standing on a roof that was on the first floor. My bedroom was on the second floor. So
I think I might have asked you this question before, but refresh my memory. Did you feel anything in the environment? Any sort of buzzing of energy, or did it feel heavier? Anything like that? No tactile
this
sensations?
Just came out of nowhere. It was, I sat in bed and turned the TV on, and my bed starts jumping, and there's a couple of aliens in my house. It just happened just like that, man. It happened so fast,
Literally sounds like the beginning of an X-Files episode, if you remember that show.
Yeah, I like that show. Yeah, it was pretty nuts, man. I stared into one of them. Like I stared in their eyes. Like because there's two of them. So I saw the one on the left. I tried to pan over to look at the one on the right, but I never made it that far. As soon as I looked in the one's eyes on the left, the taller one, I was like locked on, and like this, it was like a tunnel. Like my vision turned into a tunnel.
Was it the same sort of feeling that when you were paralyzed, you can't move, and now you're locked or hypnotized? What did it feel like?
It looked like I was literally looking through a tunnel, the air was wavy like a tunnel. I can still see outside of it, but I don't know, maybe it was my fear or something. But when I locked on the eyes, I just froze. Like I think my heart stopped. I think I stopped breathing. I think everything just froze. Like it was just like a pretty intense feeling.
That's a natural reaction. Yeah, sure, absolutely, man.
But like there was no like information being given back and forth or nothing said. They didn't even move. But they had, I never said this before, but they kind of had like, I don't want to say a peaceful look on their face. Their face was very plain, but I kind of get the feeling that those two were there to like kind of watch, and the two that were in the hallway were there to do something. Like I feel like the two outside just were there to watch me for some reason.
Observing, maybe. The whole process. I mean, aside from your fear, did you feel threatened immediately? Did you feel like your life was in danger, that something bad was about to happen?
Well, I was already kind of into the subject, so I kind of already knew what was going to happen. But this was 95. So at that point, I had a belief it only happened in like farmlands or a highway in the middle of nowhere. Like that's what the major stories were. I'm in a dense suburban neighborhood. Like I lived in a split home. So if it was on my roof, it's on the neighbor's roof as well, just on my side. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like the houses were maybe 20, 30 feet apart from each other. So it was a dense area. And I don't know, I didn't think the area I lived in that's kind of stuff was possible. I thought
kind
they'd
of the
call
way.
it stragglers, like in the middle of nowhere, you know.
It's kind of the way I felt last night when I was talking to Long Island Bigfoot Mike, and I said, Bigfoot in Long Island, you know, I mean, it was a great interview. I had a fantastic time, but he really sort of enlightened me, to say the least, you know. But okay, all right, so that's interesting. You know, after you had this initial experience, we talked a little bit about how you're waking up and experiencing, you know, injuries and so forth. Other than that, what else in your life was making you feel like this was still happening?
Definitely the time that I was paralyzed holding a can of soda. That was the most. That's one of the more stranger things to me because I went to sleep like a normal night. My girlfriend, you know, I don't feel like I'm waking up, but I feel like I'm regaining my vision. You know, I don't have the vision on waking up. I'm having the feeling like I'm getting my vision back. So my eyes are, I know I can see, and my hand's out here with the can of soda upside down, and it's already open, and it's just starting to spill on me. And I'm sitting like Indian style, but I'm absolutely paralyzed. I cannot move. So I don't know how I would have upside down soda in my hand. I don't know how I'd open it like that. But that when I came to, that's the position I was in, and it just started pouring on me. And I was paralyzed until like the last drop came out of that can, and then I was able to move again. And my girlfriend's like talking to me. I can't even hear. After the fact, she told me she saw like what looked like three kids outside the window while this was going on.
She saw something too.
I like, you know, I kind of try to think in my head, like if I was sleepwalking, you naturally grab a can of soda and open it right side up. Like I try to redo it like in my mind, and it's like it's so awkward. It's something you wouldn't even try to do.
That's so strange.
You know, and the fact that she said, because we lived on the first floor, and the fact that she said she saw like three kids walk by, which, you know, height wise, you can maybe assume.
Well, you have corroboration for your story there, you know, in a sense. I mean, she recognized that there was something else there. You saw what you saw.
Mm-hmm. But I didn't see whatever was out the window. I was paralyzed. I couldn't look that far over.
I see.
She saw it. You know, I was turned to the left too much where I couldn't turn my eyes that far over. But there's a couple of times after that she said, like, she'd be like, "John, I'm scared." So I don't. That was all that was ever said. A couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Maybe she saw something after the fact or whatever. I always thought that was connected. Like I feel like they're like messing with me, like pulling a prank on me for some reason. I don't know how. Like it's crazy to actually say it, but like I can't think of any reasonable, considering what happened to me before that. You know what I'm saying? If that was a one-time thing, it'd be different. But that's a weird one, man. That's a weird one.
You know, it's funny because I've found in my research that some ETs do have a very grand sense of humor. And I don't necessarily think that they may be the ones that are taking people or have taken people for whatever reason. But the fact that that facet does transpose, you know what I mean? Even interspecies in that sense where, you know, obviously people know humor and then you have an extraterrestrial is completely from somewhere else, but yet shares that core emotion. You know, I think that there's probably a huge similarity between us and extraterrestrials in at least the emotional sense. You know, they're probably more evolved than us in a lot of different ways, but I think that there is definitely something there to be shared because probably at the core, we're probably not that different. Probably not that different.
Yeah. See, the ones I saw, in my opinion, would not have any sense of humor whatsoever. They were completely emotionless. So that would make me believe that something different did that. You know what I'm saying? Because the two don't go together. Which is because like when I saw them, they didn't move, they didn't blink, they didn't do nothing. It was an emotionless. I can't see what I saw pulling a trick on something. You know what I'm saying? So that makes me wonder if another type or something different, you know, might have been involved.
Interesting. So let's move forward a little bit further now, and let's talk about what it took for you to decide to come out with this story. And, I'd like you to talk a little bit about what you went through emotionally in that respect, making the decision, because when you contacted Ollie and you wanted to share the story, he asked you to come on the show, you declined. And then I think it was the second time or third time, right, that he asked you, you finally said, yes, I'll do it. Now, I have a hard time believing that was a peer pressure sort of thing. I think that deep inside you did want to bring that out to people. So what did you go through to get to the point where you said, this is something I'd like to share? Then you talk to Ollie. He says, let's do it in a bigger, format. And you say, well, I don't know. What did you feel? How'd that go for you?
I started trying to do that maybe 10 years ago, originally, trying to reach out to people. MUFON was the first. They didn't really want to do anything. And then, let me see. Yeah. Who did I talk to next? I forget the guy's name. Oh, you know what? It was the guy I mentioned, excuse me, who had the questionnaire about my like having a twin brother and having a stillborn, like the abduction questionnaire.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So he contacted me, and I was afraid to get back to him, so I never did. And I kind of did that a couple of times with people, but in the last maybe 6 to 8 months, I've really been wanting to like come forward. I was definitely scared to do it, but I felt like it had to be done. I've been watching ufology stuff for a long time, and I believe a lot of stuff is not true or misinformation. And I felt like if I can share, my story, I would be doing something good, putting some truth out there. I think it's important. I'm very particular about that. Since because like people talk about ufology, they're talking about my life in a way, or the paranormal. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
well, it takes a lot of courage, John. It takes a lot of courage to do this and to come forward, especially for people who feel that they have something to lose in this respect. And maybe sometimes they do, when it comes to their profession or family or something like that. And I understand those situations. Regardless, it takes bravery to come forward and talk about this sort of thing. And your case is really interesting to me too, because you could talk to somebody who says, oh, I've experienced this, I'm continuing to experience this, and so forth. You're different to me because you really want to see what it is. You want to see the truth. You don't care if it's extraterrestrial. You don't care if it's, in the paranormal realm. As long as you can figure out what it is, that's what you want to know. And I think a lot of people lean towards the esoteric end of things, saying, oh, well, I really hope that it's this, or I think it's going to be, X, Y, and Z. And it's just not the case, or maybe it is. I don't know. But they're not looking for whatever the hard truth is. So when you did your research and you began doing research, which we'll get to in a little bit after, doing these interviews, you went all out, man. And for somebody to put as much effort and time and passion into it, that says a lot. It speaks a lot about character. I mean, if you were faking this and you're putting everybody on, bro, I couldn't keep up with you. I'd have to sleep some time and I'd feel terrible. There's no way I could keep a secret like this. So I just don't see why anybody would put so much energy in unless they believed in what they're talking about.
The crazy part about that is half of the decisions I've been making about this, I feel like, are not even my decisions. Like the first time that we spoke, remember that I felt this energy while I was talking to you. I feel that energy a lot of times when I'm doing decision making, and I literally follow that energy. And he was telling me to the cameras, like buy the cameras. I felt it like strong, like it was so strong that it's definitely worth talking about. You know what I'm saying? And like I've been kind of guided, and somehow once the cameras were set up and that was done, I just physically felt like all the fear just like leave. Like I swear to God, I physically felt it just like I felt lighter. It was a weird feeling. Like I felt something like just leave, and I just felt lighter. And ever since that happened, I've been curious and been wanting to figure everything out. It's easier to do stuff when you're not scared. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Without question. So from the time that you went on Alien Addicts show and to the time you appeared on GUFON with Richie and myself, what happened during that time?
Oh man, that was one of those weeks. Was definitely the craziest week of my life because I was experiencing stuff that I really don't believe in. It was after we had that conversation, like that feeling that I had talking to you stayed with me. And it's like, no lie, like to this day, like when I'm thinking about what to do or how to do something, if I have a certain idea, I get that same feeling. And it's been working. I just follow it. I can't explain it. If someone else told me that happened to them, I probably wouldn't believe them.
You used to be quite the skeptic, and I mean that in the respect that you really didn't believe in any of this stuff at one point, right?
Yeah, the aliens I always believed in, but everything after that was like, it's smack right in front of my face. Like I'm watching a shadow person run down my hallway at 4:00 in the afternoon. I would never believed in anything like that. You know what I'm saying? But when it's in your face and it's undeniable and you think of every excuse you can think of to debunk what you're seeing. But when you see something, you see something. It's undeniable and it keeps happening over and over. Like this stuff with the orbs, I don't know 100% sure if the orbs or not, but I feel like they are. I never believed in that kind of stuff. That's how it's been happening, like unbelievable stuff. So yeah, that week, talked to you, I had that feeling. Then I had that feeling at work about buying the cameras because remember I told you guys I was going to buy them already when you guys did an interview together, but I canceled the order on Amazon because I kind of chickened out. So someone left a message in the live stream in Rich's video saying you should try to find night vision. So at work, I'm looking through my phone to buy it. I was like, no, I'll just do it. I'll try to find night vision one. And when I clicked on the certain one, I had that same feeling. Like I literally dropped my phone. Like the feeling hit me in my back, like of just that energy.
You feel that's an affirmation, maybe that you're on the right path? What do you think that is?
I 100% do. This is stuff that's never happened to me before. This is like all new experiences. Like, and that whole week was nothing but that. Like we spoke before, I had a feeling where like it felt like I was levitating over people, looking down on people. Like,
yeah,
but physically I wasn't. I knew. I was walking fine, but like inside, I felt like I was just looking down. It was weird, but it wasn't out of body.
Well, this wasn't happening between your interview with Ollie and your interview with GUFON, right? This was afterwards.
No, sorry, that was afterwards. That's afterwards.
Okay, no, that's fine. What
happened?
No. So what was there any happenings between the Alien Addict interview and GUFON? Was there anything in that first? I guess what I'm trying to say in that first step where you opened up and you finally said yes, and you went on the show and you talked. From that point on, up to GUFON, did you experience anything, or did it really come after our interview with Rich?
I think I had those scars, those cuts on my knees that happened like the day before, but that was really it for that time. To be honest with you, nothing really started until after I talked to you. I almost should blame you for it because it was like the second I got done talking to you, it was just like I was like in this fantasy world like for a week, like crazy stuff was happening, but it was nothing scary, but it was just feelings I thought I would never feel before. It's weird. It's hard to explain.
In my opinion, I think that go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but I had like this feeling that was guiding me, and somehow it got me to the point where I wanted to rip my living room apart and cover everything in plastic. And I was like, I was just going through the motions, like, damn, what am I doing? And I was like, I gotta know. I have to, if I want to share videos about this, I have to know if it's real or it's not, So, but that feeling got me all the way to that point, and that's how I feel now. Like, I feel like I'm my personal investigator right now. I'm just trying to figure everything out, and I want to figure it out, and I want to share it so everybody knows the real deal.
Well, the beautiful thing about what you're doing in your story is that I feel like you've opened up. In knowing you briefly, before. Well, actually, I didn't really know. I mean, I've talked to you in the chat and stuff prior to you showing up on GUFON, at least, because I didn't see. I don't remember when I actually watched the interview with Alien Addict, and I don't recall if it was before. I think it was after I talked to you on GUFON. I saw some of it, but I think I watched the whole thing afterwards. You are not the same person today that you were when you appeared on Alien Addict. And I'm talking about an appearance. You seemed incredibly tired, worn down, just disenchanted in so many ways. And I mean, yeah, well, but let's be honest. Yeah, you did. You looked like shit, buddy. But for somebody who is going through that much duress, it made perfect sense. It looked like you hadn't slept. Everything that you were saying corroborated with, your energy level and what you looked like. You know what I mean? I don't mean that in any derogatory manner. Please don't take it that way, because today you look fantastic, bro. You've got color in your face. You look healthier. There's been a major transformation that's happened since you decided to talk about this up to this point. So when you open yourself up and you started experiencing this energy coming through, funneling into you, whatever it may be, okay, and you get this at certain points in time, right? That's sort of furthering along this idea of what you're into, right?
Yes.
So there must be some connection to that energy. Now, I wonder, in your opinion, okay, with that being said, there's lots of different theories, we'll say, about the connection between ETs and the paranormal. In your limited research that you've done, what do you think the connection is between extraterrestrial life and the paranormal phenomena we experience here? It's a tough question. So
I think I might have it. I don't think they're connected, but I think there's people that can see, like, they somehow, like, a person can see everything in that realm, I guess, or able to see things that don't want to be seen.
Okay.
Like, pull the blanket off of stuff and be able to see what's really around you.
Thin the veil.
Yes, I think that's more of the case than them actually being connected. Because I didn't see nothing until I saw aliens. And once I saw them, I've seen everything. And I always think, like, what else is there for me to see? Like,
well, I mean, you asked the question. Guess what? Guess what's going to happen? I honestly think you're at the very beginning of your journey, and you're going to find a lot in the way of self-discovery as you go forward with such vigor. You really have the passion. Big Cat wants to ask, let's put that up there so you can see real quick. Does Rican have any odd or new urges or interests since he started having his experiences? And again, thank you very much, Big Cat, for the question. Guys, if you want to ask anything, throw it in capital letters. I will see it.
Not after the incident, no. That that happened pretty recently. As far as, like, trying to investigate, up to, like, pretty much up to my first interview, it was just fear. There's nothing else, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shame how consuming that was.
How about habits? The habits that you had before you decided to come out and talk. Afterwards, did anything change?
What happened was, a couple of weeks after, it was kind of almost forgotten. Like, it wasn't bothering me. It didn't like, I could sleep. I knew what happened, but something happened when I was 30 where, like, a switch went on and I was just absolutely consumed with fear.
Mm-hmm.
I think I said on Rich's show, it was like, after watching Ancient Aliens, like, maybe something I saw clicked something in my head, but
like
I remember I was walking to my bedroom, and I just stopped, and I felt the same feeling I felt when I saw the aliens the first time, like, go through my body. And after that second, it was like 24-hour fear. I didn't, that's something that's changed since my first interview. I started calming down, and I can feel myself slowly getting back to normal. I thought I played it off like I was okay in my first interview. I rewatched it this morning. I look like shit. Like I thought I was like coming off like calm, but I look like a mess. I sound like a mess. And I was like, damn, that's how I was. And it's just dramatic how fast the change happened. It's kind of overwhelming. I'm at a place now that I thought was impossible. Seriously.
I think you overcame something, and when you look at you in those interviews, at least Alien Addicts interview, you look like somebody who's going through something. So, I mean, just to see you do this whole 360 it's been so awesome. And of course, I've been really happy that you've brought me along for the ride, so to speak. Now, let's get into a little bit of your research after the interviews. Okay. So when you talk to Rich and myself and you talk to Ollie, the first thing that you really wanted to do was to talk to somebody who did regressions, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So let me ask you, where are you in the search for that, and why do you feel like a regression would be something good for you?
Well, I've contacted a few people, and I'm waiting for a few people to get back to me. It's not like an urgent rush, but it's something I want to get the ball rolling on. It's something I never want to do any of this. Like where I'm at now, like trying to investigate what's going on with me and trying to move forward. I didn't want any of this. When I did the first interview and even after the interview, something's just almost making decisions for me. It's weird. I'm just going along with the flow, man. And this is
going with the flow. Yeah.
And this is where I'm at right now. So I feel like I'm along for the ride. Like something's affecting the decision making and what I'm doing in a positive way.
Well, I believe go ahead. Sorry.
I'll say it's a specific feeling I feel inside. Like, I feel it when it happens. And it's like my body's just intense goosebumps. And I get this, it feels like an energy going through me, like through my back, out my chest kind of. And like, I get the goosebumps and I'm like, shit, I guess that decision sounds like a good one. And I just go with it. And, it's been working.
There's a word for this. I think it's associated with music. I think it's frisé. If I'm not mistaken, somebody in the chat, you can correct me, but I think it's frisé, where you listen to music and certain music will literally, move you, and you'll get those waves of energy and so forth. I think there's something to be said in that, but something we can definitely explore a little bit further as we go on. Now, what brought you to start filming your living room? Why did you do that? Why did you even think to do something like that?
You guys in the chat, like you can tell from my first interview, it was something that I did not want to do and like wouldn't do. I seen people like supporting me, saying, go get some cameras, go figure this out, go see what's going on, and positive words in the chat help.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely motivated me. I see like 20 people mention, go get a camera, go get regression, like, go do it. Like they know there's a story there that could be explored. And that little push of that just kind of, I gained momentum, and, it was
that energy behind you. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Before I move on to this question that Frapsap has been asking, I wanted to ask you, as being an abductee yourself and the experiences that you've gone through and the change that you're going through now, what could you tell somebody who's maybe going through some of the experiences in the earlier part of your life that you had? Wow, I didn't say that very well, but what would you say to somebody who's experiencing similar things that you experienced and is in a state of fear and not really sure what to do, where to turn, who to talk to, being where you are now?
I would first tell them to relax, that if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Don't wait for it to happen. That was my mistake. I lived every day like waiting for it to happen, So that would be the number one thing. If it happened to you, just you can't stop it. Just try to calm yourself, and you're still alive. No one really dies from this
that we know of.
As far as I know, it could be just the way everything always been. Who knows? But is that, and try not to in the beginning, like if I heard a thump at night, I'm like up on my feet, like or like even
immediately.
Even my own shadow, I can't even lie, I've jumped millions of times back in the day. It was like every little any little sound, any little movement, anything I would always just jump. It was pretty bad.
Well, it was like a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a PTSD sort of event where you were just reactive to your environment and the things that you'd gone through. Man, that's interesting, brother. Frapsap wants to know, I know he doesn't drink alcohol, but what is his history with psychedelics such as marijuana, mushrooms, LSD, peyote, and ayahuasca? And I think for all intents and purposes, this is a fair question.
As far as psychedelics, I did once in high school. It was absolutely amazing, but that was the only time I did it. As far as marijuana, yeah, I use that.
Yeah, we all do, man. Listen, I mean, I appreciate you asking that, Frapsap. I really do. And I do think it's a pertinent question. Cannabis is not really one of those things I think that, really put people too far out there. But psychedelics, I could see that. Alcohol, I could see that.
Alcohol I used to, but I don't like drinking no more. I just, stick to the green stuff.
Yeah, no, I hear you, bro. I've had my share, believe me, and I enjoy the green stuff more.
But you're not gonna see stuff after using that. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't really affect anything.
Well, very quickly, I'm going to say my understanding is that there are some substances that will raise your vibration and others that will lower your vibration. For example, something like alcohol will lower your vibration. And that's when you get the idea of when you're blackout drunk, you're literally an open door. And anything can come in and take over your body, go for a quick joyride and drop you off on the curb. And you have no idea what the hell happened in the last 5 hours. A lot of us have experienced these sort of self-induced blackouts. And from a spiritual point, that's my understanding. That can happen. But then there are other ones who will raise your vibration. And I believe that a lot of the psychedelics will do that. And there's a reason that people have had such epiphanies, using these particular substances and visions and so forth that have affected them in a positive way for the rest of their lives, or sometimes the opposite way. You're going out of your body one way or another. You're leaving your body one way or another, whether you're drinking alcohol, whether you're using psychedelics. Psychedelics, I think, will bring you up higher in vibration, and you might be able to capture something at that moment. But once the drug wears off, you'll forget it. Most times, 99% of the time, you're going to forget it, which is one of the reasons I think the New Age movement even began. People started getting tired of, reaching a point of nirvana and then just dropping. So how else can we do it? Let's look into the Eastern philosophies. Let's look into meditation. We'll talk about astral projection. We'll go into dream states. So, I mean, I think that there's something there, but definitely a good question to ask. If we were to go further into that, I would definitely recommend talking more about benzos and other prescribed drugs that really fuck you up, dude. You know what I mean? And completely skew your sense of perception, who you are. I mean, some of these, over-the-counter pills will make you forget just the way a blackout did. Xanax isn't over the counter, but it's one of those drugs that will make you fucking forget. So Good question, Frapsap. I appreciate it. I have another one here from God of Thunder. He says, have any other members of your family experienced these visitations or anything like that? I'll add to it.
They don't even know yet.
Really? You haven't spoken to your family about this yet? And why? If that's the case. I've
been wanting to do, first of all, that was never even an option until a few months ago. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm like kind of opened up to it now. I've been wanting to get that x-ray done where I believe the bone was removed. I want to get that first. I want to make sure I have something solid, something physical in my hand that I can go off of before I present, before I talk to them. And also before I move forward. I think that's important. I have pictures of stuff, I have videos of stuff, but I think an x-ray showing that something's missing, where a scar I got that, I was cut that night.
So you want to bring some sort of physical evidence to corroborate your story when you present this to your family is basically what you're saying, right?
Yes. And also at that point, once I do that, I can spread myself out even further. Like I don't have to keep my Twitter locked and, try to hide myself from, whatever. It's just, I don't want them to find out the wrong way. That's why I try to guard how I do stuff, even though they don't watch this stuff, but maybe a friend of a cousin, you know what I'm saying? Like you never know. So I want to get the x-ray first, and then I'm just going to kind of open up and push this thing forward.
Do you think they'll be receptive?
I think one of them is going to probably have the same experiences as me.
It's going to have the same experience, or has had?
Has had, yes.
Why do you think that?
I believe it's a hereditary thing. I can't remember all like the abduction documentaries I watch, but I try to absorb as much information as I can. And most of the stories, I believe, always you find out it's a hereditary thing, And those are the stories that I've read in the past where that's mentioned, and I agree with that. I have no proof of that, but that's just a theory I think is probably likely. So I want to make sure I go into this the right way. Maybe it's my mom. Maybe my dad doesn't know my mom has this happening. I don't know what kind of situation I'm going into,
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it's risky, but once that's done, I'll feel kind of free in a way just to go about and do what I wish.
Interesting, mate. Very interesting. So let's talk a little bit about what you found in your living room. So the first night you set it up, and were you there the first night, or were you out of the apartment?
I was there for the first few nights, maybe like the first 4 or 5. I was trying to catch aliens on tape. I had no intention of catching anything else. I wasn't looking for anything else.
So that's what you were after. You were after capturing an alien on video.
Yes.
Okay. And what did you find instead?
I found these things that I think that are orbs flying around. And I found them accidentally because the camera doesn't pick up the orbs on its own for some reason. I guess they're so small, or it doesn't, because usually movement triggers the cameras. So one night I was staying at a friend's house, and I manually hit record. And I watched the live stream, and I saw something shoot out from my couch up under like the coffee table into the air. And I was like, what the heck did I just see? Like, I'm rewinding it. And I'm like, wait a minute. Let me go check my old footage. And this stuff was all over the place. I have found out recently that orbs are kind of a taboo thing in ufology, I think, or the paranormal. But I think that's what they are.
I don't know that.
I'm not going to argue with nobody, but
I'm laughing because I don't necessarily think that a taboo might not be the word. I think that they're the most easily dismissed bit of evidence that you could find in the paranormal field. The first
thing to like replicate, I guess, but
But see, the thing is this too. All right, when you see dust, come into the camera, night vision or otherwise, it acts a certain way. You got to look at the air currents in the room. Are there windows open? Is there air conditioning going on? Do you have a fan? What's moving the air in the room? If there is anything, if there isn't, and you're watching this dust kind of do its own motion, that's something different, and you'd want to research that, which you did. What we saw on the first video, and we're going to show a couple of these just to give you guys an idea, those who are not familiar with what he's done. We're going to give you an idea of what we saw. And the reason I think this isn't dust is not just because of what I mentioned a moment ago, where there isn't any air moving through that room. Okay. John took the time to tape up everything in that room and plastic off every open airway that could possibly bring in a breeze or something of that nature. And we still saw these orb-like things floating around his living room. On top of that, I mean, I've never been to your house, but I know you personally. Okay. You're a clean dude. And, tell everybody why your house is so dust free, just for a little extra boost here.
I'm allergic to it. If I touch it, my hands will swell up.
So it's not something you could just have in the house and not realize it's there, right?
Yeah. Also, I like my stuff clean. I like my floor shiny. I like to sit in a clean living room. I don't know. It's just how I am. So I get irritated if something's on the floor. It'll bother me. So I'm cleaning pretty daily.
Yes.
Also, something I thought about today that's kind of good proof about it is when I leave, nothing starts till like maybe 10 or 15 seconds after I leave. So the room is completely still for a few seconds after I leave with no fans on or nothing. And then you'll see one here, one there. If it was dust, when I turn the camera on, it would be in the camera as I leave the apartment. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Dust doesn't just pop out 20 seconds after I leave my place.
Do you find that there's more activity when you're present in the apartment, maybe obviously in a different room, sleeping or whatever, versus when you leave the apartment and you're filming? Is there any discrepancy?
No,
not really.
It's when it's dark out. Like when I'm home, there's always a light on or a TV on. So my living room's never pitch black. So maybe I can't see what's going on because there's some type of light on. But when I'm doing recordings, when I'm sleeping, you'll never see an orb. I look through all of them. There's not one orb. It's like 20 or 30 seconds after I leave, you'll see a couple of lights flash and you'll see one shoot off. And then some of them are crazy. I believe if it was dust, it would have been moving immediately when the camera was turned on. It wouldn't just start moving on its own after I leave, But
well, that's curious. Have you ever felt anything while you're sitting in that room? Any energy flowing through you that was different than what we've already talked about, what you described? Anything touching you? Get a sense of something watching? Anything like that?
No. It's pretty calm. The situation doesn't even bother me. It's like there's a couple of times where I saw one with the naked eye. That might have happened only 3 or 4 times, but it was unmistakable. Wow. This is after the videos. Like sometimes you don't know what you're looking for until you see it, and then once you see it, you're more aware of what's going on.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's the key right there. You become aware of it. You're sort of acknowledging what the activity is, and in that sense, perhaps welcoming it in, depending on what your mentality is. God of Thunder would like to know, does Rican get the sense that if he asked the visitors to stop visiting him, they would agree? Have you ever done that?
I wouldn't even take it that far. I think trying to do any type of communication could go the wrong way. So I like to keep it how it is. I've heard stories where things can go left if you try to do that. So I'm happy how it is now, and this is how I'm going to keep it. I'm not trying to start no shit with anything.
But you'd like to, well, let's see. All right. So if these contacts have more or less ceased, right? Or at least have quelled down. Have you woken up with an injury recently? And we'll get into what you've woken up with recently, but in terms of an injury.
Nothing noticeable.
Nothing noticeable.
A couple of little pains and nicks, but work's been a little rough, so that's what that is. But anything strange? No, not that I know of.
Well, that's good. That's different, though.
Yeah, but the thing that happened last time with like the little scoop marks, that was like the most intense one. Like that was like, I feel like they wanted me to know that I was there or something like that. It's I don't. And the funny thing is, after it happened, I still brushed it off until the next day when I saw it, and I was like, "Wow, like, what are the odds?"
Well, it's easy to do that because, sometimes it's not what you want to acknowledge. You got other things to worry about and think about during your day, and you wake up with this bullshit on your body. You're like, what the fuck? All right, well, whatever. It's easy to dismiss. I understand that, that it makes sense. I remember waking up with scratch marks all the way down, like from my shoulder. There were 3 scratch marks went all the way down my arm, and they drew blood. I woke up that morning already knowing that I was dealing with some shit in the house. And I looked at this and I was like, oh my God, I did take pictures. Unfortunately, that camera was stolen from that phone was stolen from me about a year ago. So I don't have any of the pictures left, unfortunately. But, I looked at it and I said, well, I got a job to do. I've got a family to raise. Fuck it. I put some bandages on it, cleaned it up real quick, and went to work. It's easy to dismiss, but yet the problem will still persist. That's the issue. You know what I mean? So if you haven't woken up with any injuries since, the last time you did, okay, you've been talking to me about something else that's been happening in the morning. Can you enlighten us to that a little bit? What the hell has been going on, man?
This is strange. So I've been waking up in the morning, and at some point during my morning routine, there's like a brown, round, like glob, like almost like gelatin looking, like covered in mucus and running down my, it's like, the glob would be here and then it would run all the way down in here. Like I'm touching something in my house that's rubbing off my hand. First of all, there's no way. So
why? Why is there no way? What in your environment would keep you from thinking some weird shit isn't, plastered somewhere in your house that you're touching?
Not like that. There's no way. I eventually see it happen 3 times so far. First time, I just wiped it off. I was like, God damn, that's gross. I don't know what that is. Second time, I did the same thing. But then I went and checked all the... See, I'm like, my morning routine's like it's the same every day. I wake up, open my bedroom door, go in my room, open a dresser drawer, grab work clothes, get dressed, go in the kitchen. So the second time, I'm checking doorknobs. I'm checking the knob on the dresser. I can't find anything. I don't know where this is coming from. So it happens the third time. It's all in the morning. And it's like, it's like a residue. It's like a slime, but there's something like inside of it. And I wipe it off. And then I was like, shit, I shouldn't have done that. I should have taken a picture. It's too late. But then I ripped my house apart. Like, because I know I only touch certain things in the morning. I'm not doing random stuff. It's very organized, so I know what I can easily walk through my morning routine and retouch everything, and but it's absolutely strange because there's nothing in my house that's gonna do that. And like it was like the ball was maybe like that big of like it's like a brown ball, and it was like in mucus, like it was weird looking. The first time it happened, that was the biggest one. I was like, what the heck is that? But it grossed me out so much I had to get it off my hand immediately to even look at it and process, or check it out, But it's weird. Like I said, I only touched like the one morning I woke up, I looked at my hand immediately because now I know check. So I wake up, I check it, nothing's there. I open my bedroom door, go in, grab my clothes, and then I look at my hand and it's covered again. And then I check my doorknob and the doorknob's bone dry. And I check the dresser handle's bone dry. And I'm like, what am I? I don't think it's anything from me is basically what I'm saying. I know it sounds strange, but this is just the truth. It's what's been happening.
Well, this is interesting too, because when we talked and you first shared this bit of information with me, I think it had happened maybe 3 times, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, one of the things I mentioned to you is what you had already wanted to do. I said, hey, take a picture if it ever happens again. Because up to that point, it wasn't, you had a couple 4 days or something that you had experienced it, I believe. And sure enough, what was it, the next day? Yeah. I think it was the next day. You messaged me and said, hey, it happened again. And you sent me a picture. And I don't have the picture with me right now, unfortunately, but it's just the way that he was describing it. It's like, it was right here on the top of right by his knuckle. It looked like this little egg, like a brown yolk in the middle, and you could see that it was slimy. But the funny thing about it is, it doesn't look disturbed. So if he grabbed onto something, you'd see some sort of squish, out, pushing out of the material, whatever, on his hands, something that indicates that it wiped off from something. And it looked like it was just laid there. Now, this is what you've been saying.
It doesn't look like it was smeared. Like,
no,
if it was coming from something, it had to be my doorknob. But after I noticed it on my hand, I go to check the doorknob, and the doorknob's bone dry. There's like absolutely nothing. You think there would still be like a little bit of residue. But yeah, I only touched certain things in the morning. And I went back that last time and checked everything, and I couldn't find anything similar to what's been on my hand.
That's so strange.
So now when I wake up in the morning, I have to look at my hand to see if there's some strange residue on it. Like that's what I do when I wake up in the morning now. It's weird.
Do you wake up and you just immediately look on your hand, or are you in your morning routine when you start to notice this? Oh, we lost him for a minute. He'll be back. His camera was giving some issues prior to the show, so hang tight, guys. Hey, look at all you wonderful faces in the chat tonight. Fantastic to see you all. Coral Ann, I see you there. GUFON, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, my friend. Got Chemical Summer. Got Long Island Bigfoot. Great interview last night, my friend. Man, did I have a good time. God, I couldn't sleep after that. I'll be honest with you. Stu Garson. It's my own version of it. Stu Garson's here, guys. What else we got? Let's go back a little bit here. Stu, nope. Yep, Frapsap, God of Thunder. Big Cat, my man, my moderator. Rican's also a moderator. I only have two. I only need two. Got Tina Hisola. What's up, love? Very nice to see you. Yeah, I see what you guys are talking about in the chat. And here's my take on it. The first time I did LSD, I was 13. Had no idea what I was getting into. I had drank. I smoked cigarettes, smoked weed, whatever. It literally blew the doors off my consciousness. I had no idea what I was in for. And it was probably the hardest trip that I've ever had. And I actually only needed that one. I've come to realize later in life, I only needed that one because it was so familiar and opened me up so wide that my music, my creativity, my art has forever been influenced by that one experience. Anytime I revisited a psychedelic after that, it was more of a reinforcement. Oh, John's back. Hey, brother.
Dude, that was crazy.
What happened?
It just said everything stopped working, but it said everything was unplugged, but everything's plugged in fine. So I had to unplug my mic and camera and replug it back in.
God,
just like
I'm telling
all of a sudden
man.
It said the stuff's not there no more.
Motherfucking, technology. We'll get it right one of these days. I'm still really happy that we get to do something like this. We're quite some distance away, perhaps not as far as Ollie is from us, but we're able to do this, and you don't have a professional setup, but you have a really nice setup. It's enough to get you going and get through what you're doing. Yeah, so, yeah. I mean, this is still cool, man. Believe me, it happens with everybody. It's okay. I don't remember what the hell I was asking you, though. I'll be honest with you.
Neither do I.
I don't remember what I was at. No, we were talking about the residue, and then we got on to something else, and I don't recall what it was. That being said, all right, so the residue again is I know what I wanted to ask you. So when you notice this, okay, and you wake up in the morning, the first thing you do, you look at your hand. Is this when you notice it, when you first wake up, when you're still in bed, or throughout your morning routine? When do you usually notice it? I mean, I know you're looking for it now, but
so I sleep on my couch, so I wake up, go to my bedroom. Mm-hmm. So within that first 30, 45 seconds of only touching my doorknob and only touching my dresser drawer, I'll look down just randomly and my hand will be like covered in it. And I'll be like, what the F? Like, there's, so I retouch my doorknob, I retouched my dresser handle, and they're bone dry. It's absolutely weird.
Both. Yep.
Sometimes I wonder if I even should share stuff like that because it doesn't make absolutely any sense, but it's what's happening.
Well, hold on. Richie and Frapsap were both telling me that it may be ectoplasm, which I'm not entirely familiar with. I'll be honest with you. I might have come across this concept some years ago, but I did not get into it and did not follow up with it. Rich was saying that it's something from the other side. So I'm going to look into that myself, and I'll share with you anything that I find, because that's fascinating.
It's always in the same spot and leaves the same type of trail to my thumb.
See the consistencies. That's so crazy.
Yeah. So I don't know if you can access it, but I sent you that picture on the Skype. I don't know if that's easy for you to pull up or not.
It's not on this computer. I'm sorry. I was thinking about that.
That's not a big deal.
No, I wanted to show it.
It's like a mucus, slimy. It's a weird consistency, almost like an oil color to it.
Yes.
I tried to smell it last time. It didn't smell like anything.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't going to lick it.
God, next thing you know, who knows where you go, you know? Game Vat wanted to ask, have you ever thought of getting it tested? And I know this is something, it's still a new phenomenon for you. I mean, it's only been the past couple of weeks that you've done this, and you've explained, you know, what your reaction was upon first seeing it and so forth. If it happens again, could you like stick it in a jar or something and just hold on to it to see maybe we could find what it is? Yeah,
I thought about it. That's why I was pissed last time, because I wiped it off, and then after the fact, I was like, damn, I shouldn't have done that. You know, I got the picture the time after that, but yeah.
Nobody can blame you. Nobody can blame you for wiping that off immediately. Bro, I would have done the same exact thing.
So, you know, I already thought about doing that. So yes. And now it's weird. I wake up, I have like my flashlight, my phone. I'm like looking at the doorknobs and checking everything out before it's weird, but you know, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I'm not like scared of it. I'm just trying to see, you know, what's going on.
Well, like I said before, you're somebody who wants to know the truth, whether there's a logical explanation or there's a more esoteric explanation. You'd like to know what it is. You know, somebody had asked me at one point, you know, what if everything that you research and all your understanding about the other side and ghosts and so forth, there becomes a rational explanation for it one day where it's a physiological phenomenon? How would that make you feel? I said, that'd make me feel great. I'd know what the hell it was. I feel like you're the same way, man. I really do. And that's something unique, again, in the field that we work in, because, you know, again, I think a lot of people have their biases and their desires, and God, I mean, the imagination can spin so many different things the way cotton candy is put together, man. It really can. It just builds up this huge inflated story that might have had a kernel of truth in the beginning, but at this point, it's just so inflated, and nobody can disprove it unless they take the time to really go through. And even half of those cases you aren't going to disprove because there's no trail to follow. You know, people lie, and it's really difficult to catch them sometimes. But that being said, all right, so let's bring up, because we have about 15 minutes left here. I want to bring up a couple of those videos of your living room with the orbs in it. And for the record, through all that I've gone through with you and the interviews that we've conducted and the talks that we've had, it is my belief that you don't just have a dusty atmosphere in there. I think something else is happening of a spiritual nature. What it is, I don't know. But there have been, you know, not just the orbs, but you're seeing, you know, energy moving around your living room if you're looking closely enough. And I believe it definitely merits more research into that. But that being said, that's my prognosis here. I really think that you have something going on there that we're just not able to explain yet. So let me pull up this video for you here. Give me just a moment, folks. All right. So I've got 4 of these. Let's see what we can get into. And I'm going to put this up. And as I'm showing this, John, if you wouldn't mind explaining what we're looking at as we're going through, that would be fantastic, man, because I don't think anyone knows these videos as well as you do.
Okay.
So here, this is going to be the first one, by the way.
Okay. Yeah. So the first video is the first one I ever noticed. I noticed it by accident. Like this is stuff I wasn't even looking for.
All right, here we go.
Completely accidental.
So we're looking here.
So this is the first one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is
there's this orb. Okay, I want to bring that back. Yep.
That's the main one. And to me, that's one of the best ones because you can see it coming from like kind of under the couch and just how it curves up close to the camera.
Yes.
And just
it comes from here.
Like to me, you're not going to see just one single piece of dust take off like that, you know?
Well, as we mentioned with Rich, the arcing is really curious on that. And if you didn't have any airflow, you know,
it looks like it has like a destination, like is going somewhere like specific. It's not just randomly shooting around, you know, the way it curves. Like That's the way I look at it.
Well, a lot of those that you see sort of come right towards the camera, as if there's maybe something behind, as you mentioned, a destination of sort, maybe there's something behind. Again, we look at these things and you think about what might be existing in these same spaces. It's really hard to ascertain the answer to that. It's really hard to tell. But you can look for patterns and make assertions, really. So here's the second one. Boom, boom. I don't know if I shared the audio. There's really, wow. Hey, how you doing? That's not what we're looking for. Hold on. Yeah, man. This is cool, man. I really appreciate you, coming on the show and talking about this again. I know this has been a focus for you and sometimes a raw nerve because of that's how the nature of it. That's the nature of it. But I really respect you, dude. I really do.
Thanks, man. I enjoy doing this now. It's easy when you're just talking about your life. It's not very difficult. I can ramble on for hours.
You'd be surprised how many people would have difficult time doing that. It's kind of funny how many people won't talk in a public forum or let alone about themselves. All right, so here we go. This is the second video. Am I doing this wrong? Oh, I probably am. Sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I apologize. All right, let's try this one more time here. I can pretend I know what I'm doing. All right, here we go. Ba-boom. And here we go.
All right. So I think this is the same night, but you can see the motion sensor is picking something up in that area.
That's what the green boxes are, right? It's the camera picking it up.
It's just a camera detecting movement over there, but there's nothing over there, which I think is pretty weird.
And here are these orbs again.
Yeah, they're zipping around. But I thought it was interesting on that one how a motion sensor can pick something up that I can't see.
Mm-hmm.
Something had to have moved. I don't think that's a malfunction because you can kind of, as the box is bigger, then it starts zooming in a little bit, like it's actually picking something up.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's
well. You
cool.
See this throughout not all of the videos, and there are some videos that you have that are full of these orbs, let's say, and yet you won't see the motion detection pick it up, and yet there's videos like what we have right here where you see it. It's very strange, man.
Yeah, definitely
very odd. All right, so I'm gonna yep, go ahead.
So the first night, I wasn't here. I captured those two videos. I felt weird going home the next day because I just learned that there's orbs flying around when I'm not there. So I kind of like tippy-toed in the house at first, but
I get that. Oh, believe me, I understand that. Still funny. All right, so here we go. This is the third video. And I'm gonna start. This one's about 5 minutes, so we'll see what we need to get through.
What's the label? There's one that says like
day 2.
Okay, yeah, this is the second day then. This just has a lot of orbs and it's coming from different directions. You see how they come in pairs. I think that's pretty cool.
And some of them kind of have that strobing effect, which I'll be honest with you, like right there, I don't know. They don't all have that, and if it's this light that's reflecting, you would think you'd see it more often. Now here's another one, but there's the same trajectory.
That light is actually not a light. That's the second camera. It has
that's right.
It has two tiny red lights you can barely see, but for some reason, when one camera picks up the other camera, it looks like a bright light like that. But that light is not. Yeah, it's not bright at all. That room's pitch black.
No, that makes sense to me. But as I mentioned,
I forgot to mention that before because some people thought it was a light, and
well, it's easy to forget that you're using night vision when you're doing these videos. But there were two orbs here up early on, which I'll bring back in a moment, where they looked like they took the same trajectory. Let me see. I'm going to bring it back right now. Hold on.
Yeah, they're like side by side, right?
No, this one here. Okay, it comes right from the center of the couch. Now, if we stick around for a moment here, we'll see another one coming out, strobing right there. Same place. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
One more time, I'll bring that back. Where's the first one? Okay. And within 10 seconds, here comes the next one. Same sort of trajectory. Now, again, if there isn't, honestly, the first thing I think is the air currents in the room, and you don't have them.
Yeah, and remember, in the beginning of every video, it's always calm. There's not stuff already kicking up. It's kind of starting on its own. These videos are middle of the night. There's no fans on. There's no windows open.
Right.
There might be a slight draft from somewhere, but I don't think enough to be moving dust across the room that fast and make those kind of moves. But
well, I mean, you also plasticed up the entire living room. I don't think this is the video, but you did do that, and we still saw the same stuff.
Yeah. I enjoyed doing that. That kind of sucked though, because I had to turn my air conditioner off, and I was sweating my ass off. no air conditioner, but I fought through it. It was fine.
Frapsap says night vision will produce false positive paranormal results. Yes, it depends on how you're using it, Frapsap. Absolutely. There's the majority of the equipment that people use out in the paranormal field can be misinterpreted or, calibrated incorrectly, or there's not a white balance. There's so many different factors and variables that go into using this type of equipment. And keep in mind, John's just starting out with this stuff, but he's getting consistent results. And again, it's the same thing that he's picking up time and time again under different circumstances, different days, and so forth. It's an interesting anomaly to look forward to. And I think that there may be more there. Only time will tell. And if we do the research, that'll be, something that we'll come across. So let's see here. Where are we? All right. So again, we're seeing a lot of these orbs. And again, I'll make mention that, see this one here? Okay. They're moving slowly, some of them, and others are moving very quickly. Some of them are in pairs. There appears to be a certain sentience that is enveloped in these orbs based on my observation. And it seems to come from the couch. And I don't know what those little strobe blinking effects are over by the wall that we see.
Yeah, I just saw one flash too.
Yeah, I'll bring that back real quick so everybody can see. It's up here.
I also want to mention, since I got these cameras to try to catch an alien, these cameras are running when I'm sleeping every night. These are on every night when I'm home sleeping. And I've never seen a video with me sleeping on the couch with an orb. And I looked through all the footage. This only happens when I'm not in the house or in my apartment. I've never seen one orb ever while I'm in the house sleeping. I've seen like maybe one or two awake actually. But as far as me sleeping, there's nothing like this going on if I'm sleeping on the couch. It only happens when I leave. I think if it was something strange, it would always, me being there or not, wouldn't matter.
I would figure the same thing. Well, not necessarily, because sometimes, you being there could act as sort of a catalyst to the activity and so forth, but it depends. It goes in different circumstances. GUFON mentions, he says, dust is impossible to remove. Have you ever seen a laser in the dark? All those twinkles are dust. It's not easy to tell the difference between any orb or dust. That's the whole idea. Man, I couldn't agree with you more. And of course, that's why we do what we do. And listen, I'm sure that there are little bits of dust in your house somewhere. Does that attribute, or can that be attributed to what we're seeing on the camera all the time? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a problem. Like, I completely respect his opinion.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? But like, I'm trying to think of, like, I believe this. To me, I believe this is what's happening. I'm not trying to tell you guys this is definitely what happened. This is just what I believe was happening.
Sure.
So I'm trying to figure out other ways to get to the bottom of it. I honestly think when I did the plastic thing, I think the dusty fans in my bedroom was the most important part, because I intentionally put 2 fans in there, and there was dust on them, and I left the dust on the fans purposely because I wanted to see what happened. And both fans were spinning, ceiling fan and another fan on the stand. And you didn't see not one speck, not one orb or nothing.
I think I have a way to settle this. I don't know if you'll be open to it, but I'm going to throw it out there. Here's a good way to at least get a little bit further into what you're doing here. If you were to go to some purportedly haunted locations and just take B-roll, okay, set up and try to catch orbs or try to capture dust, in some of these abandoned places or wherever you are, and then compare it to what you have. I think that would be healthy to do. And again, this is just a suggestion. you know, and you can do what you like. But I think if you were able to have something that you took, you know, obviously in your living room and then out in the field and then compare the two, you'd have more to stand on in terms of what might be happening in your living room.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely be wrong too, but to me, it's compelling enough to share. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely. And that's why we're here doing what we're doing. And, you know, everybody's entitled to their opinion. And I appreciate everyone's opinion as long as it's respectful, dude. That's, I mean, it doesn't even have to be constructive. As long as it's respectful, I respect your opinion. So I'm going to throw on this last video here and we'll just see again some more of the orbs that we have been witnessing.
Is this the one that says like spirit from cushion or something like that?
This one is the fourth one, day 2, video 4, extra activity.
What was the one before that one, if you don't mind telling me the third one?
Sure. It was day 2, tape 3. The spirit right cushion was the second one that we showed. If
you replay that one, that's the one that has the actual thing we saw, like lifting off the cushion in the first like 20 or 30 seconds.
All right, let's take a look at that.
I just want to share that little one because I remember when I was on Rich's show, I couldn't find that video, but I think this one's pretty cool.
Spirit right cushion. And all right, I'll replay this one here. Just a moment.
Just the beginning part, just the way it leaves the couch and kind of wiggles its way up in the air, I think is pretty cool. Dust or not dust.
You show us what you're seeing here. And here we go.
So yeah, in the beginning on that right cushion, you'll see this, I don't know what it is, right there. You see it?
The orb that floated up. Or the I mean
no, on the right, I'm sorry, the right cushion. Did I say left cushion?
No, you said right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring that back here.
To me, it doesn't look like an orb. It looks something a lot bigger. See that right there?
It could be. It's really hard to tell with the artifact from the camera. I mean, I'm not saying it isn't. I'm not. I'm just saying it's difficult to tell. And when I first watched this, I thought I saw movement, but as I've watched it since, I'm not resolved on that. I don't know. But if it is, that would make sense as to what else is going on in the room. But again, it's just speculation.
Yeah, definitely. But I've watched all these in slow motion, and there's so much, they're so much cooler in slow motion.
Yeah, I wish I could have done that for you tonight, man. I'm sorry we didn't have that hooked up. But all right,
you'll see stuff you didn't see originally. There's a lot more stuff to see when it's in slow motion. You see more of like white twinkles in the air and like around the couch, almost like glitter effects a little bit. That could be the camera too. I don't know. I wasn't even expecting to record orbs in the first place, so I'm just going with the flow.
I would just love to see, again, a comparison. Other places. I mean, it doesn't even have to be a haunted place. You just go into a place that is dusty and just take some B-roll and see what happens. Again, I think that's gonna give you something to really work with. So here, I'm gonna share this last one, and then I'm gonna share a little bit of this because we're really at the bottom of the hour here, and we're going to finish up. But before we do, I'm gonna throw this out there, and here we go. Here's some more of the orbs that John has been capturing in his living room.
Yeah, so this video is just one of the videos that has more activity than some of the other ones. They're just coming from every direction.
Shit. Sorry. Man, I don't know how. I hit one button. All right, here we go. Sorry.
It's all right.
There we go. Is that running? Yeah, it's running. Okay, good.
And, I could be completely wrong about this, too. I never even looked into orbs ever until recently. But I just the way they move, I think it's pretty cool. To me, it looks like something's going on. But I can understand why people would think otherwise. I don't blame them. I would have thought the same thing 6 months ago. I would have said it was BS.
Well, what you've got here is something to build on, right? Mm-hmm. If nothing else, you've got something to build on. When we get into this field and you start doing the active research, you're going to have a lot of these things that you tuck along the sides. They sit on the margins. And yet one day you might pull something out and say, well, I just saw something recently that looked like something I took a video of 2 years ago and haven't been able to figure it out. There's a lot of that. You don't know what you've caught here in respect to what you might see later. So, I fully encourage you to keep doing this work in whatever capacity that you're comfortable. And, you're very inquisitive and you seem like you have the right mindset to do this sort of thing. So please keep doing it. keep videotaping. It doesn't have to be every night, and really consider going out to somewhere that is very dusty and that you might be able to capture something like that to compare it to the videos that you have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I find a place where I can do that, I'll definitely do it.
Yeah, you're in Philadelphia, right?
Yeah,
shouldn't be too hard. Well, listen, John, I want to really thank you for coming on the show very, very much, dude. I mean, this has been fascinating, listening to your story all the way through. And, again, I am in such gratitude that you have brought me along and trusted, my thoughts and the conversations that we've had together concerning this. And I am looking forward to seeing where you go with this, because what's more powerful than somebody who has had the experiences that has been propelled into the research, because they're already convicted about the experiences they have, and they're trying to find out more and validate that in certain ways. To me, there's very little more powerful in respect to that sort of thing. So please, man, continue doing what you're doing. And thank you so much for coming on Dark Hour Paranormal. Now,
go
ahead.
I've been enjoying everything, And as far as meeting you, like I feel like you're like the last piece to the puzzle of, you, Rich, and Ali. Like, I feel like you guys, all three, are different. So like when you came in, it was like, all right, I'm ready to go. I got all the people I need to go on this journey. That's honestly how I feel about it. So, wherever this goes, you guys are going to be along for the ride, if you like it or not.
Well, I appreciate it. I can't speak for anybody else, but I very much appreciate it. And so I'm gonna wrap up the show now. But before I do, where can people find you? Do you have a channel that you're working on right now, right?
Yeah, it's a mess right now. It's just there's a couple orb videos, and then I had to post the videos you showed on your show on YouTube, so you can replay them. So that's all it is. I'm not sure the direction I want to take, because orbs isn't something I really want to deal with.
It's a stepping stone. That's just a stepping stone.
The abduction thing is the main focus. The orbs just present them themselves, and kind of took me off course a little bit. So when I figure out what I want to do with it, I'm kind of going to revamp it and get it more official and figure out a direction I want to go. But if you want to watch some orb videos, there's plenty there for you guys to watch.
And what's the name of your channel? Is it Rican Havoc 214?
215. Yeah,
215.
Havoc 215.
Sorry. I look at you, I see Rican Havoc. I forget about the numbers there. But yes, Rican Havoc on YouTube. The hell I said Rican Havoc 215.
Yeah.
Yep, you can find them there, and you can see the videos that we just played tonight, and you can watch them over again, however you like. But thank you very much once again for coming on the show. Yep, go ahead.
One more thing before you go.
Please.
I'm sorry.
Please.
I saw the interview with you and Ali recently, right? And I heard you guys talking about doing a show with you, Ali, and Rich, and me. So I want you guys to make that happen.
We'll work on that. I'll talk to Ollie and see where he is. I know he proposed something along those lines right now on my end. Much fun. I was going to say, I don't see any problem with that happening on my end, but we'll get the other minds involved and see where they're at with that. But that would be a great time, man. That'd be fun. That'd be a great time. All right. So thank you very much for coming on the show. I'm going to pull you off now. And if you want to stick around, I'll say my proper goodbyes off camera. If you got to go, I understand that too, but I'll put you backstage and I'll be with you in just a moment if you hang tight.
All right, cool. Thanks. Thanks, Jack.
Thank you very much, my friend. I do appreciate you being here. Thank you. Well, I'll be honest with you, folks. This was a different interview. We've talked to John in different forums, and I've talked to him personally, and I've been following what he's been doing and his research and so forth ever since I had the opportunity to talk to him on GUFON with Rich. So this is a different kind of interview for me, and I know the flow is a little bit different, but I hope you guys really enjoyed it. I had a good time kind of wrapping this up for the moment. This story that has been intriguing me since I was invited to be involved. And I really appreciate every one of you guys being here tonight. Thank you so much. I think John did an excellent job this evening. And I encourage you to go back and watch the interview with Alien Addict and with GUFON. You will find a lot more detail about what he had gone through, and you'll see more of the process that he's gone through with all of these experiences and now where he is today. I'm not even kidding you. The guy looks like a completely different dude, and that haircut is pretty fucking fresh. I already said that to him, though. He knows. Guys, thank you once again for being with us tonight. I do appreciate it. We'll be back next week. I won't mention who I have coming on. It's going to make a couple confirmations, but it will happen. So keep an eye out, folks. Go over to Richie at GUFON and check out his show. He's on at 10 o'clock Eastern Time, 7 o'clock Central, Pacific, 7 o'clock Pacific. So go and check him out. He's doing some pretty awesome stuff. He's there with Third Phase as well. I'm really excited, with what Rich has been doing lately. The interview with Dr. J the other night was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So I hope you guys check that out as well. Guys, have a great rest of your night. Fantastic and magical evening. And we will catch you next week, if not sooner, here on Dark Hour Paranormal. Thank you, moderators. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Have a good night.